Attention Vikings fans, a whirlwind of emotions and controversial decisions is shaking the teams backstage. While a young prospect faces enormous pressure to be the new commander on the field, another player reveals strong feelings about the absence of a veteran legend who almost reinforced the roster. Tensions, expectations, and blunt statements are stirring the environment, provoking intense reactions from all sides. Who stands out? Who might disappoint? Welcome! Show your support for the Vikings by reaching 100 likes on today's video. J.J. McCarthy, the young quarterback of the Vikings, is the main character of the first news dominating the spotlight. At only 22 years old, McCarthy took over the starting position in Minnesota, an immense challenge, especially for a player at the beginning of his NFL career. On the outside, his controlled behavior might seem like a lack of emotion, but it's far from a lack of commitment. In a recent interview, McCarthy emphasized his full dedication to the team's process, his desire to live the moment, perform consistently, and build a resilient and relentless team. The maturity in his words already draws attention, but the real test is in practice. In training, the young signal caller not only maintains composure, but has also shown constant improvement. According to local press reports, on one of the best preparation days of the preseason, McCarthy did not have a perfect game, but showed leadership, orchestrated plays efficiently, delivered precise passes, and avoided critical mistakes like interceptions. His performance excites those who watch closely, showing that even in apparent calm, there is a lot of internal fire. It is important to remember that the team lost Justin Jefferson for the initial stages of training, which puts additional pressure on the quarterback to create good connections with alternative receivers. McCarthy has taken the opportunity to intensify chemistry with names like Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, Rondale Moore, among others. The dynamic between them serves to reinforce the team's adaptive approach in front of the natural difficulties of such a demanding championship. McCarthy exposes that the team's essence is the uniqueness of each player, and that the multiplicity of leaderships helps make his emerging star role less lonely. The young athlete keeps fitting his own style into the Viking system, balancing serenity and focus. On the other hand, natural career maturation and inevitable mistakes are part of J.J. McCarthy's path, who knows the responsibility but shows no anxiety. His speech reveals a stance that pleases the locker room veterans and strengthens the work climate. The quarterback is seen as a figure capable of leading the team not only with talent but with emotional intelligence, absorbing lessons and preparing for the challenge that is just beginning. This scenario of the young rising leader is directly linked to another news that shakes the roster structure. Josh Metellus, a Minnesota Vikings player who recently renewed his millionaire contract, revealed in an interview a strong opinion about the Vikings' failure to sign Aaron Rodgers, the legendary ex-quarterback. The dialogue not only reinforces the club stance, but establishes an interesting counterpoint to the trust placed on McCarthy. Metellus, who grew up idolizing Rodgers, clearly stated he is glad the veteran did not come to Minnesota, and that he personally wants to intercept him in a scheduled game next September against the Pittsburgh Steelers, now led by Rodgers. This statement provokes immediate reaction from the fans. The instant feeling that the Vikings squad trusts the potential of their youth and prefers to spice up the rivalry and tradition of the NFC North with a fierce spirit. The episode where Aaron Rodgers scored his first touchdown against Metellus remains alive in the defender's memory, reinforcing will for overcoming and sports revenge. Rodgers' figure symbolizes an untouchable icon for many, but for Metellus it became a specific target to be beaten, showing ambition and competitiveness that permeate the squad. The replacement of the legend by young vets like McCarthy and the signing of players like Sam Howell and Max Brosmer highlights a clear Vikings policy. The club opts to invest in developing talents instead of relying on immediate and expensive solutions, betting on a solid long-term construction process. This choice, while brave, is also controversial and laden with risks that can define the season's success or failure. Concerning the pressure suffocating young rookie quarterbacks, McCarthy is an impressive exception. Maintaining calm, respecting the process, and working details with new receivers show a player big on the field and in attitude. This combination of early maturity and coaching staff belief in his potential fuels fans' hopes. It is undeniable that Aaron Rodgers' absence on the Vikings roster creates significant political and emotional space. Josh Metellus manages to transform this vacuum into fuel, placing his bets on direct confrontation and the possibility of building his own story within the same narrative once Rodgers is. This generational duel is one of the most fascinating points involving the team right now, creating a healthy environment of competition and motivation. In practice, what the Vikings present is a picture where the new bet, J.J. McCarthy, embodies the team's future, while veterans like Metellus set the tone of resistance and respect to roots. A contrast between youth and experience steered by a management that seeks balance between innovation and tradition. At the same time, McCarthy's leadership, supported by the roster's cohesion and his strong mentality, seems to be a turning point for this cycle. The team's focus remains firm, not shaken by absences and challenges that an NFL season inevitably brings. Check the synergy in the locker room and the relationship between older leaders and new faces to understand the internal dynamics that may push the Vikings towards solid results. Fans' patience will be tested, but the potential for growth is tangible. For all these reasons, the Vikings season shapes up as fertile ground for surprises. Between McCarthy's calm charisma and Metellus' strategic provocations, already thinking of intercepting a classic rival, the team lives a moment of reconstruction and expectation that stirs the fans' passion. Now the question remains, will the bet on young players like J.J. McCarthy and the resilience of veterans like Josh Metellus be enough to lead the Vikings to a great campaign? Or will the absence of a legend like Aaron Rodgers be too big a loss for the team's balance? Don't hesitate to raise your voice. Like, comment your opinions, and subscribe to the channel to keep following exclusive analyses from the Vikings universe. Your engagement is crucial to keep this conversation alive until the end of the season. Characters count without extra spaces, 7,563.